I learned the truth on a Tuesday evening. Not from an admission, not from an argument. Came through an image I was never meant to open. My phone vibrated while I stood at the sink, rinsing a glass. A shared family chat. A distant relative who didn't think twice. Beautiful birthday setup, she typed. Then the photos appeared. Rose-colored balloons, warm lighting, a cake sized for 20, my daughter grinning at the center, and my wife's hand resting on a man's shoulder. A shoulder I knew before my thoughts caught up. Her former partner. I didn't shatter the glass. I didn't feel my blood rush. I simply nodded, because what hurt more than betrayal was absence. I wasn't there. Not in that room. Not in the planning. Not at my own child's birthday. My wife hadn't forgotten me. She had excluded me. I stared at the images longer than I should have. I analyzed the framing, the glow, the way his hand lingered too near my daughter's back, the slight lean of my wife toward him. Quiet, instinctive, familiar. This wasn't chance. This was practice. I dried my hands, sat down, and scrolled again and again. Something dormant woke inside me. Not fury, strategy. She returned home late, subdued, deliberate. "How was work?" she asked, setting down her bag. "Fine," I replied. She said nothing about the celebration. Nothing about why our daughter smelled faintly of another man's cologne when she hugged me. "Good night." That quiet explained everything. But silence can deceive. Proof cannot. In the days that followed, I observed without seeming to, listened without responding. I smiled. I made lunches. I kissed foreheads. Inside, I documented. Her phone stayed face down. Alerts silenced. Showers ran longer. Laughter softened. His name slipped into stories where it didn't belong. During lunch breaks, I pulled phone logs, not theatrics, just trends. Late night calls. Messages erased moments after reading. Then the email surfaced. An invoice for a venue, paid in full under her name. Description: private family event. I lingered on that word. Family. I ordered a DNA test, framed as curiosity. A discreet kit. No questions. When the results arrived, I didn't open them immediately. I already knew. The truth had been seeping out for years, through arguments that led nowhere, through her defensiveness whenever my daughter's features came up, through the way her ex looked at her in those pictures. Not like a guest, but like a parent. The document confirmed it in sterile terms. Percentages. Certainty. No room for doubt. I folded it carefully and slipped it into my briefcase. That evening, I asked a single question. "Did you enjoy the party?" She paused. Just a fraction of a second. "Yes," she said. I nodded, the same motion as before. 2 days later, she returned to an empty house. No shouting. No smashed dishes. No dramatic letter. Just an envelope on the dining table. Inside were copies, the DNA report, the venue bill, phone records marked in yellow, and one business card, my attorney's. She called me 37 times. I didn't answer. When I finally agreed to meet, it wasn't at home. It was in my lawyer's office. Neutral territory. No shared memories to twist. She cried before speaking. Apologies without detail. Excuses, loneliness, distance, old emotions. I watched her as if she were unfamiliar. "Why didn't you invite me?" I asked evenly. She stopped crying. That was the question she hadn't rehearsed. "I didn't want conflict," she murmured. I slid the DNA report across the table. "This," I said, "is conflict." Her expression crumpled, not with remorse, but with exposure. She confessed in pieces that they'd reconnected years earlier, that she wasn't certain who the father was, that she believed it wouldn't matter if I never found out. I listened, calm, distant. Then my lawyer spoke. Custody petitions, divorce conditions, financial separation, and one clause she hadn't expected. Fraud through omission. She reached for my hand. I stood. "I raised her," I said. "That part was real. But you don't get to erase me and keep my silence." Her voice broke. "What will you tell her?" I paused. "The truth," I said. "When she's ready. Without venom. Without deception." That night, she went back to the house alone. What awaited her wasn't vengeance, it was vacancy. Bare walls. Closed accounts. No leverage. Only documents and consequences. Months later, my daughter asked why everything had changed. I told her families are built on honesty, and sometimes rebuilt without it. She nodded. Children grasp more than we assume. I don't despise my wife. Hatred requires attachment. What I feel now is lighter, sharper. When I saw her ex again, carrying a responsibility he never intended, I gave the same nod I had that first night. Because the most crushing revenge isn't fury. It's clarity and leaving without turning back.